Guys, I don't know what day it is, but listen, the Lord has made this day and we are here. Welcome to So That's What We're Doing, the podcast full of mess and foolishness with Candiace Bassett and
Leah A. Henry. What's good, Saints?
Come on, Saints. Okay, so Leah, what's happening in your neck of the woods? What's happening in the world?
I mean, honestly, I'm on the internet all day. Like, I'm an internet girl. Like, I am a blog. I am a scroll up and down. I like to see what people are talking about on Twitter all day. Yeah. And I mean, I'm so glad that we started a podcast right now because I feel like all Negroes sit up and do is start a podcast and talk about women.
Why? Okay, help me understand this. Is it that they've been sitting at home, quarantined, bored for a full year, and so now you're just reducing yourselves to trying to get cussed by me and the rest of us for running your mouth into the ground? Speaking of this, I was doing as you do, scrolling the internet, and I came across, I think it was on the Shade Room, this Kevin Samuels fool has made a name for himself. I think at first he had a YouTube channel where he talked about men and how men should behave and how they should date and what have you. But I guess he wasn't getting enough likes and clicks and subscribes. So now he's talking about women, honey. He is yet bored. So he's on here talking about Sweetie. So just take a look at this mess and let's talk about this.
But see, when I judge women, I don't judge them. I judge women by the same metric. This is where people get into the image consulting thing. I look at you, fresh face, no makeup, your natural state. And if you have ever seen her pictures, fresh face, natural state, she's a cute woman who can be pretty. But I don't think she's ever going to be considered to be beautiful or gorgeous.
Okay, first of all, are we cows? Are we chickens? Why is there a scale to judging anything that I'm doing? Okay, that's number one. Number two, I have a huge, and I've always had this issue. I have a huge issue with people in general who criticize or have an issue with women who wear makeup, who wear wigs, who are into the beauty scene, the beauty industry, because I'm very much into that. I love makeup. I love foundation. I love a lash, honey. I'm going to give you a lash and tickle with it. I love a good wig. That does not mean I don't think that I'm beautiful without makeup. I wear makeup for me. But since we're going to go there, sir, you walk out the house without your Beijing, okay? You walk out the house without your fade, okay? You walk out the house without your beard tended to. You look homeless. If you want to look homeless, you look homeless. But if I want to walk out the house and I want to have makeup on and some eyebrows, this is my business. You mind yours. I think men just have to get away from this idea that they can have a say in what I do with my body. You have other things to worry about. And my eyebrows should not be one of them. And scaling me is definitely not one of them.
Well, let's keep it real. Sweetie is one of the baddest in the games, with or without makeup. So let's start there. But let's dive into this a little bit because I thought that this concept was interesting. I mean, you have over 100,000 followers, and the idea that he said that literally when there are a huge amount of people telling you one thing, you believe that to be so. So what were your thoughts on that part in particular? Because, I think the general consensus of the internet is that Sweetie is bad as hell. And I mean, I believe she's gorgeous myself, but I do understand that like social media, you know what I mean, can make or bend or shake things. Because in that same notion you said about makeup, people say that about plastic surgery all the time. I'm doing it for myself.
And they also need to mind the business as I mind my magical Black business. If I want to go to the surgeon and have my breasts put on my ass, that is none of your business. Like unless I am causing harm to you, why are you concerned? So, and here's the thing. I will say this. Every woman is not going to be every man's cup of tea. Just as every woman is not, it goes both ways. It goes both ways. We're not all going to be attracted to the same person, and that's fine. But I also think that there's a code as far as messaging, and certain conversations are what I like to call kitchen table conversations. I don't need to hear you scoring women, especially the likes of Sweetie, who is stunning on your worst day, sir. When your bald patches are showing because you haven't been able to get to the barber because the barber don't want to see you and your Beijing is not working, Sweetie is she's killing the game. She's killing the game. Okay, period. And that's all that there is to say about that. So score yourselves. Score your bald patches. Score your beard that won't grow in. Okay? Score your one testicle. Don't score women out here in these streets because we are fine. And if she's a 6, then leave her alone. Why are we speaking about Sweetie at all? I want us to get away from, and I guess it's boredom being in quarantine. Yeah. Get away from the idea that a number can be associated with anyone. Like we're not cattle. They used to score slaves. We're not slaves. Like you don't need to categorize us that way. Either you're attracted to a woman or you're not. And if you're not attracted to me, then move on. Wash your bed sheets. Mind your business.
Speaking of categories, I was scrolling on the internet and I happened to see a video that says there are certain qualifications to calling a woman a queen. And so before we talk about categories real quick, let's listen to this little podcast. It's called Crew Season. And it's another podcast of men discussing women.
A lot of these women don't be queens like they think they are. That's all I'm saying. It's just simple. The way they carry themselves, the way they act, like all that shit.
So you say you can't be a queen on air mattress.
You're not a wifey material.
You can't be wifey on air mattress.
No, you can't. I'm sorry, baby.
I'm gonna let you take that one.
Okay, so I'm not gonna even lie. Like we being real here. When he said the no air mattress, you can't be a queen. I busted out laughing. I'm not gonna lie. It was all hilarious to me. However, in the same breath that he sat up there and said, it comes from like the monarchy, the idea of royalty and like being called a queen. I mean, if you were raised in a Christian household, you know that royalty is considered, you're automatically, by being a child of God, considered king, queen, prince, princess, because our Heavenly Father is a king. So first of all, sir, who the hell are you?
So, somebody that was raised by wolves. His mother is somewhere in the fetal position, crying, embarrassed, shamed that she birthed him. That's all I know.
See, okay, and this whole thing was why I wanted to talk about the dating space, because I mean, let me just say this, Candiace. Honestly, Negroes out here talking like this. You married a white man. Is this part of the reason?
People ask me that. People do ask me that. When we first started on Potomac Housewives, I used to get a lot of DMs and emails from Black women asking me, number one, what was it like, or what is it like dating a white man, and what is it like being married to one? And they also would ask what color his penis was, but we can get past that because I don't really know why they were asking me that. And then they would ask me, how did I find myself dating a white man? And I will say this, growing up, because I'm the product of a Black woman and a Black man. I was raised by a Black woman and a Black man. My stepdad is a Black man as well. I grew up, believing that Black was excellent. And I always saw myself being married to someone who looked like me because that's what I grew up around. And it wasn't until I guess I got to college, and I'm from Georgia. I left Georgia, and you come to the city. I came to Washington D.C. I met Howard University, and Howard is in the middle of Northwest Washington D.C. There are no gates. There's nothing to keep us from the rest of Northwest, and you really get to kind of experience and explore the world and the many different facets of culture and race that walks the campus. And I grew to appreciate that love comes in all shapes and sizes. And I've always been, or before I was married, I was always an equal opportunity dater. I dated Caribbean men, East Indian men, African men. I dated a white guy before I married my husband.
Like seriously, seriously dated a white man.
We were,
spill it.
So I'm going to get in trouble for saying this. So we only dated for maybe a year. But keep up. He was my stepmother's sister's husband's nephew.
Yo.
Did you catch that?
Yeah, I caught it enough to realize that y'all weren't related.
We were not related.
Like cousins.
We're not related at all. But yes, and he was living at the time. This is so raggedy. This is just a lot. At the time, he was living in Iowa because he was a coach at a university in Iowa.
Oh, okay.
And I was flying out to the cornfields, child, to see my man, child.
Your back blown out by little Timmy in Iowa. Well, wait, time out. Did your family know about this, or you was just going to the cornfield?
Yes, no, my family knew. Like, and my family has always been very supportive. My mom is like, she comments a lot, but she's always very supportive. And every guy that I ever dated, she would say to me, "Oh, he's not the one. That's not the one. You should date other people." Chris was the only man I ever dated that she was like, "I like him. He can stay around." And moms, unfortunately, they be knowing. She knew that he was the one. But no, to get back to the white thing, I always tell women this. You have to eliminate your non-negotiable list, because every woman, especially Black women, we have this list of non-negotiables, right? These things that we know that we want, we're not willing to waver on. You got to let that go. Because I also said I would never date a man that had kids, and I would never date a man that had been married before and that was divorced. And Chris was both of those. And I also never thought I'd marry a white man. I was open to pretty much anything, obviously not, somebody that's abusive and beating me and, stealing from the government or whatever. But a good man who has a job, who's upstanding, who's respectful, who takes care of his children, who's respectful to his ex-wife. Chris was all those things. And he was a good person. And I was willing to step out and say, okay, this is, he's not Black, but he's good to me and he treats me well. And I liked him. We were friends first. That's the other thing. You got to be friends with these men. And that's how you really get to know them, is when you hang out in the friend zone for a hot second and get to know them without the romanticism involved. That for me was the key and what worked for me. Because that mess, Leah, listen, that ain't it.
The screen is dangerous.
Those men are ragamuffins, and you can tell them I said it.
Well, and then, okay, so let me ask this, because now I'm talking to a married woman, so now I can ask all my questions. So one thing my friend said to me that I never forgot is, she said, when do we ever see men, though? Like, I know you're saying rip up your list, change your expectations, but when do we ever see men compromise? We never see, like, women will date a man who's like, he's not the finest, but he's good to me. When do men ever do that? We never see men be like, she ain't all right, but I settled. We never see that. So as women, what is the playing field here? Because,
well, do we? Is that true? Because, I do feel like, well, this guy who was saying, I ain't gonna date a woman that got busted in 3 times, you are a menace and an embarrassment to society, sir. Go back into the woman, come out again. Change, because you're embarrassing. But I do feel like there is a cohort of men who will say, I'm willing to take you as you are with, your child or your children. I'm willing to take you as you are, maybe not in the body that you want to be in, not, in the job that you want to be in, not in the home that you want to be in. And let's build that together. Those men exist. Black, white, and purple. They do exist. Because again, we were talking about being on Instagram. I see them when I be scrolling. They be talking about the kind of men they want. Not that Derek Jackson. We don't like him because he used to talk about that stuff too. But he's a fraud. But men like that, but that are real. They exist. It's a mental thing, but it's also a spiritual and emotional journey. You have to mentally and emotionally open yourself up and say, I'm open. I am open to receiving love, however it comes, wherever it comes from, as long as it's aligned with my views, with my values, with my spiritual journey. That's important too. You have to be willing, because I was open to love. I'd been in relationships my whole life. And I broke up with my boyfriend who I thought was going to be my husband. I was sure he was my husband in my mind. And we broke up after 4 years of dating. And I said, you know what? I'm going to choose to be open. And, shit happened.
See, yeah, I'm on the fence because I'm gonna be real. Like I have been struggling in the dating field, and I think that like as my career has blossomed, it is changed for me. So I grew up in Texas. I grew up in a Christian household. I came from my grandparents who stayed married until my grandma passed away, and then my mom, where I was a love child. So like I grew up without a dad, and then I've had like these variations of what a I guess successful relationship looks like, right? Because in my own immediate home, I never saw that. With my grandparents, I did, and so when it comes to dating, I feel like there's a lot of different things that pour into it and why you are a certain way or why you perceive things a certain way. And so when it comes to dating for me, like listen, this is our podcast. I'm trying to be more open. I'm going to be real.
Tell the truth. Yes.
Okay. I have never been in a relationship. I've never been in a real relationship. I am going on 28 in November, and I have never seriously dated a man. Have I been in situationships? Sure.
Yes.
But have I like genuinely been in love and smelled the roses and been stupid? Like, no. Which also scares the living shit out of me, to be quite honest with you. Because I watch my friends be in love and do dumb shit, and it's like cute when you're 22. But when you are 27, you have a thriving career, you're a homeowner, you have certain things about yourself. It is scary as shit to like be nose wide open and want to be chasing after a fucking man. Like that shit honestly like being transparent is a fear of mine when it comes to dating. So I think honestly, the older I've gotten, the more I've been closed off to like feeding into like bullshit or certain things that I feel like don't align with that list. And so you're not the first person I know to say don't have this list. Pastor Michael Todd of Transformation Church, a big church online, one of his things for his relationship series and his book that's like a New York Times bestseller is like rip up your list, right? Like don't have any expectation because God may be trying to show you something in a different way or in a different package. And so I've tried to do that, but dating is fucking hard. And to be real, a conversation we don't talk about a lot, especially with Black women. First of all, Black women are 50% just upfront. Don't get married. And then you're educated. And the more educated you are, the less likely it is that you will be married. And so those statistics scare the living shit out of me. And then on top of that, when you are successful, when you are in the public space, when people do see you or recognize you, you also have to question like what people are
their intentions.
You don't know. And so I found myself like it being very, very difficult to date. And, I know you, I know other radio personalities, and I've just watched the journey from the outside of like trying to find love in this entertainment space and it being really fucking hard. And so, I mean, like, girl, I could tell you stories for fucking days. One example, which people find this funny, but I have trust issues because I'm not even gonna fucking lie. I know I'm like making myself undateable at this point, telling all my business on this podcast, but that's what we're doing. So there's a guy I met online, I kid you not. And this guy gave me trust issues about probably a lot of men online. This man was cool, and I was naive. I was in college, met on a dating website, and we were talking. First red flag that I didn't notice was that this Negro could only talk at certain times. Me being naive, just thinking like, oh, okay, we're busy. Like life is busy. Right. He was a bit older than me. I was probably like 22, 23 at the time. He was probably like 27, 28.
Okay.
So, but he was cool, and I liked
BT Dubs. That's too young. You got to date older. Yeah, go up.
We'll talk about that in a second. Put a pin in that one. Yep. But so I was like, okay, talking to him. When we did talk, it was cool. So we decided to go on a date. Let's just say the damn day was May 5th because I don't remember the day. But we were supposed to go on a date on May 5th. So I'm a journalist by trade, so I get to tippity typing on the computer, looking him up, and I find his Facebook. And I add him on Facebook because in my mind, if I'm meeting this girl that I don't know online and she finds me on Facebook, I'm going to say something. I'm going to be like, oh, I noticed. So in my mind, I was like, if he's a catfish, I'll know because he won't respond. If this is really who he says he is by this government name, if I add you on Facebook, you'll say something. Right. But he never said anything. So I was kind of skeptical. But whatever. We move forward to May 5th or whatever the date was. And so we keep going. And then it slowly starts to dissipate. Like we stop talking a lot less as we get closer to the date. I don't internalize it. I'm young, whatever. I'm talking to other guys on this site, whatever. So again, remember that I added him on Facebook. So a couple months later, I see a Facebook post by a woman, and she says, "You all please pray for my husband," at his name. "He is being deployed to Iraq, and I need all of my prayer warriors to cover my husband." And I said, hold on. I know this motherfucker is not married.
What?
So I click, Candiace, wait now. I click on the damn Facebook and I go look, because, it says like married to this date. Why, Candiace? Why did this nigga get married on the day that he had for us to go out?
I'm leaving. I have to go. I can't. He got married on the day y'all were supposed to go on a date?
How trifling of a nigga can you be to be like, what sounds like a good date? My wedding date? So then,
what? See,
Candiace,
okay.
Yes. He was fucking married on the day we were supposed to go on our first date. Why? Like, what would I act like, Candiace?
I'm processing. I
need help. Like, I'm still processing. Bitch, it was like 5 years ago and I'm still mad. So then wait, I'm like, okay, now I'm fucked up. So I was like, either this is a major catfish, like he really utilized somebody else's shit, or he's trifling. So I was like, I reached out to him.
It's B.
Yeah, it was B. So I texted him and I was like, excuse me. I sent him the screenshot and I'm like, are you kidding me? Bro, do you know this Negro had the nerve to make it like flip it on me?
Of course he did.
Like, girl, I don't know, like, yeah, I'm married, so what? Like, this is, girl, and I mean
suck an ass. Okay, and at that point, you cut it off. That's not your people. He is not for you. He's clearly trash. What you need to do is pray for his wife because she's in trouble.
Okay.
That's what
Well, and I was going to, like, part of me was like, damn, should I reach out to this woman? But then I'm like, okay, no, because I was like, he's getting deployed. They just got married. It couldn't have been that long. It was maybe 6 months later. But, now I have trust issues because it's just like, these niggas will do anything.
A lot of them will. But Leah, it's just like with anything. And this is where, at my core, I'm an optimistic person. I have pessimistic ways, but at the core of me, I'm optimistic. And I truly believe that people are going to receive the desires of their heart. And you cannot allow crazy outside factors, idiots, liars, cheaters, philanderers, cockroaches like this man to think that they can do whatever they want to do and it's going to affect you. You need to let all of that go. And I speak to it because I have a lot of friends and I know a lot of women who have like similar crazy ass stories like that.
This is ridiculous. It's a club.
And you know what it is? You take it for what it is. It's a crazy story that you can tell to your girlfriends, to your sister friends, that you can laugh about, and then you let it go and you use it as a learning experience and you let that shit go. And you use it to move forward so that when you do find your king, you can tell you can kiki about this crazy story to your king. That was not for you. But what I will say is that, as we all know, there is the statistic that says that men typically mature slower than women. One thing that, and this is just me, I'm naturally attracted to older men. My first boyfriend in college was 15 years my senior. He was a grad student at Howard. He was in school, but he was 33 when I was 18. And we dated for years. And subsequently, almost every guy that I dated or was in a relationship with was older. And I will say that there is definitely something to that because and my husband Chris is 8 years older than me because they've gotten a lot of that bullshit out of their system. It's like they played their games, they've done their dirt, they've had their time to, go on a date when they're supposed to be getting married, and they've gotten it out of their system. So that would be my first suggestion to you and to the people. Hello. If you're finding that you're having an issue, or you're finding that you're kissing a lot of cockroaches and frogs, let's look into an older pool. That's where I would start, because a lot of those men are established. They are willing to look past aesthetic things. Like Chris does not give two fucks about me wearing makeup, about me having cellulite, about my insecurities about my boobs, or like my eyebrows, or like, oh, my wig is not on. He does not care. Chris will take me stank mouth with my cellulite, however I am. He loves me. And if my hair is a mess, he does not care. And that is something I think that comes with being with an older man who has seen things. He had a wife who gave birth to 2 of his children. When you see childbirth, when you see what happens when a vagina stretches out to 10 centimeters, like you're beyond like the aesthetic pieces, and you're beyond petty things. So that's where I would look for you. And we gonna just pray for military man who's clearly a cheater and a liar and a philanderer, because he's trash.
Well, I mean, but let's be real, because I gotta be honest with you. This sounds horrible, whatever. I think about the fact that, like, okay, your grandma loves your grandpa, right? And they like age together. So I guess it was like the attractiveness came up with them. But I'd be looking at old men and I don't see it. Like, I'd be like, I don't.
Well, it don't have to be that. I'm not talking about 72.
But my point is, I'm 27 and I feel like a 35-year-old looks old to me.
What 35-year-olds you talking to?
I'm just saying in general. When I look at a 35-year-old, I be like, that nigga look old. Like, I'm in my 20s. I'm living life. Like,
girl. Yeah. No, you 27, you should be looking at 37 to 40.
Ew, Candiace. Yeah. No.
Girl, are you want to go on some more dates with some men that's getting married and they are supposed to be going to brunch?
No, but I'm just saying, like, I'm 27, like, because when you date, okay, because my issue is too this. When you date an older man, you also have to be prepared and equipped to come with what older men come with as well, which at 40 years old, you're in a totally different space in your life than 27. I don't want no kids right now.
Well, Leah, no, you're not, but you're a mature 27. You're not out here, floundering around. You have a steady job, you have a home, you have your life is set, and you have a job that you have to be, and you have to be on. You're a responsible, magical Black bitch. Like you are doing better than a lot of people out here in these streets. Okay? You're not just a random side of the road blade of grass. So you are appealing and attractive to some, like the guys that were just on this podcast that he was talking about. Oh, y'all don't have jobs and y'all don't have this and y'all have all these kids and y'all want a man. This. He wasn't talking about you. He's still wrong as hell for saying what he said, but he wasn't talking about the likes of you. You are a successful woman who has a lot of stuff going for her, who has goals and vision and foresight. A 40-year-old man is going to be looking to you and say, oh, this is attractive to find a younger woman who has her shit on straight. You just got to I'm trying to tell you, you go ahead and try to listen. You go on a date with 27-year-old man and see, don't he have you at Chuck E. Cheese or something?
Okay, Candiace, you know what? This is what we're going to do. This is what we're doing. Okay. Because I've been thinking about doing this for a while and documenting it for just other content purposes. But this is what we will do. For the next week, I will set all of my dating accounts to 37 and up and to Caucasian men. And
I'm trying to tell you.
And I will expand. I will for this week entertain the conversation. And if I enjoy any of these interactions, I will indeed then go on the date and I will report back.
Yes,
I will, because
this is a good thing, saints and sinners. This is a good thing. I'm trying to tell you, this is a part of opening up your mind. You have to expand your horizons, open up your mind to other things. The world is such a vast and incredible place. And like people that travel know this. Like it's so easy to get stuck in, just your town or just your state or even just these United States. But there's so much world out there beyond what happens in our culture and in the subcultures that happen in America. It's the same with dating. There are so many different silos that you can tap into if you just open yourself up to being attracted to. You have to attract what you want. And what you want is to be in love and to find love. You have to be open to being in love and finding love in more than just one place or even two places. So yes, change your dating apps. Just put it to 40. Do 37 to 40 or even do 35 to 40. 35 to 40 and leave it there and see what happens. Child, you're going to be on a date with a sexy Asian masterpiece that's going to blow your back out and rock your world. I'm going to be like, I told you, bitch. See what I said? Yeah, it's going to be great.
Okay. So that's what we're going to keep track of because I'm going to tell you now, sexy
Asian masterpiece.
So
anything is possible.
Yeah, I guess so that's what we're doing.
Absolutely. That's that on that. Honey.
Listen, now we got to make sure though, we tell everybody, listen, more foolishness, more from our lives. Again, make sure you download, subscribe, and leave a comment because we challenge folks out.
Let us know. This is what I want to see. Everyone in the comments, I want you to tell me what age range you think Leah should be dating. You've heard her talk. You've heard who she is. Who should she be dating? And if you got some good people, hook her up. Put them in the comments.
Me, because honestly, truly, if your daddy is fine. Matter of fact, I would date Sweetie's daddy. He's fine.
He is that's a nice piece of man.
He's married, but he's fine.
Can't have him. But if he
because I asked her, I did. But listen, some of y'all daddies be fine as hell. That's the problem.
Date you with #DataDaddy. I'm trying to
Wait, Candiace, this could be a social media thing. We can let people use our #DataDaddy and send me eligible bachelors over 35.
Over 35.
Use our hashtag. So that's what we're doing. The acronym for that. And then also use Data Daddy. If you have a daddy out there that can fill my needs. Fill my needs and
fulfill her every need.
But if you're listening, know that I'm a big girl. So don't if your mama is a size 2, I'm not the one. Like if that's
must love a little fluff, honey. Must love a little fluff. Yes, all of it. And they're out there, okay? And they will love you for who you are. I'm putting it out there. I'm speaking it for you. Yes. Okay. #DataDaddy. Get into it. So that's what we're doing.
Okay, so that's what I guess so.
Until next time, darling. I'm ready to hear about these DMs, child. Next episode.
So that's what we're doing next episode, child.
And before we get out of here, just one more again. You have to subscribe to our podcast. So that's what we're doing. Available on all streaming platforms.
Okay.
Get into it, okay? And leave us a comment. We love to see your comments. We want to know what you think, what advice you have for Leah in this dating pool. #DataDaddy. Okay. Yes. And whatever else you're thinking, whatever is on your mind, send us some ideas, whatever you want to hear. We are here for it.
Yeah. We want to hear from you. So make sure you do all those things anyway you get your podcast. So that's what we're doing.